Welcome to Honest Convos with Karen.
And Marcia. We're longtime biz besties bringing you along for the journey of building a business and life you actually want.
No fluff, no filters, just honest conversations about the highs, the lows, and everything in between.
So grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and let's get into it.
All right, we are back, and today's episode is going to be, I think I say this all the time, but this is going to be a good one. They're all good ones. But today we're going to talk about the season that you're in and what happens when sometimes you have a seasonal mismatch. Maybe your effort and your focus are not really aligning. There goes our word, bingo card, you got it out. Okay. But not really aligning with the season that you're in. And it can make you feel like you're doing something wrong or you're not chasing the right goals, which that could be part of it. So we'll talk about that. But it's never that you're the problem. Like you're not broken. You're not doing, you're not doing life wrong. Sometimes you're just in a season that is different and maybe you haven't acknowledged that and noticed it and then adjusted the way that you're moving towards your goals so that it can be more flow and less push. So we're going to talk all about seasons today. Marsha, what do you think?
The season I am in is what you said, like just going with the flow and not pushing. And I think that, you and I have been in this arena for like over a decade now. And I think a lot of the people that we met back in 2013, 2015 were peers. So basically they were on the same age group. So I think a lot of us, we have evolved out of that hustle culture where it's like, and I do buy into the belief that if you want to have a successful business, you have to hustle for at least the first couple years. And that's because it's kind of like drinking from the fire hose. Like there is just so much coming at you and there's so much you have to do, especially if you're starting out and you don't have the financial means to get support. And even if you do, you're still learning your business. You're learning how to be the operator, the marketer, the CFO, all of that. But then I think, as a 10 to 12 years goes by, your hormones start to change, your family situation starts to change, your kids are older. I think you've thrown enough spaghetti at the wall to know what works and what you actually care about. And so that's where I'm at, where it's like, I don't wanna learn how to DIY everything. I would rather just pay people. I did have, like, all those money issues in the beginning because I was like, I started a business to bring money in, not really realizing that that's not realistic at all, like, how many businesses are, in the green from the get. And so I really did battle with that, I think, until I got the full-time positions, and then I had money coming in, and then I wasn't necessarily working on my businesses, but I was able to invest in things that meant something to me. So, like, improving the house and, like, trying to create a capsule wardrobe, which I have since, donated everything. I'm like, "God, I hate buying clothes." Anyway, I digress. But, yeah, so now I see like some groups and I'm like, "Oh, I should, join that." And then I'm like, "No, but I'm not in that phase of like where I want to have like a different workshop every month that's telling me how to build out my SEO or how to do this or how to do that." I'm like, I would rather just meet someone that I think is cool, who I've seen, them share the results that they've got for other people and just hire them. So that's the season I'm in. I'm in the season of ease and flow and still will work, like, on the weekends, and my schedule is still, like, all over the map, and that's based on energy, and, like, I had to learn how to do that as well, like, just kind of map out, like, okay, like, there's certain times that I just don't feel like working, and if I'm doing creative work, I need to just go with the flow with that as well, so
I love how you said that, like, knowing the season you're in is helping you make investments that are better aligned, right? Like, that was such a good one. I'm like, ooh, that just, I don't know, that would just like spark something. I was like, oh, that's so true. Like, if you really recognize like you're in a season no longer DIYing, no longer wanting monthly workshops on all the things, like, then of course you're not going to join a membership that offers monthly workshops, learning how to DIY all your business stuff. So I think that is important. And we talk about like just noticing and being aware of yourself is so important because when you don't have that like acknowledgement of whatever it is, your values, your goals, your vision, your season, all the things about you and what you actually want, then it's almost impossible to do things in your business, in your life that will make sense for what you actually want. You're going to be like, "What? This isn't really, I don't know, do I really want that goal? Do I really want to do this? Do I want to be on Instagram live 3 times a week?" Like, all the strategies and tactics will never really feel right because it's not right. And that's okay. But you have to notice that and you have to really be able to recalibrate and not measure your current results or your current self by old standards. Like you may have grown and changed. You're in a new season. And like Marsha mentioned, with the age does come excuse me, some different priorities, right? I mean, there was a time in my life where I would be out and about like all the time. I mean, on the go, barely saw my house. Why did I even pay rent? I might as well just live out of my car. Like, always doing something. And that was great at that time. Now, you almost can't pay me to leave the house. Like, I'm like it really has to be like a super awesome, amazing, like, or friends I haven't seen in forever and I keep saying no, so let me say yes to this one, that kind of stuff. And like when I think about that, sometimes I would be like, oh, I'm so lazy. I really should get out there. Because again, measuring my current self by old standards. Like, well, I used to go out, I used to do all the things, but just recognizing that was a different season. And the same thing with, business is like I used to have the mom blog and it was great at the time. I mean, I enjoyed it. I was writing, I would do like blog challenges where I would write every day. Yes, every day I was writing a new blog post. It's kind of crazy when I think about it now. You can't get me to write a blog post once a month, let alone once a week or once a day. But back then, yeah, daily blog posts. I'm doing sponsored stuff. I'm taking pictures, the kids, I'm dressing them up and doing all sorts of craziness. They're, wearing the things that got sent in the mail so I can post it and whatever. I mean, all that stuff. And at the time, that was great. But thinking about trying to do that stuff now, like if I was going to try to use that type of strategy of growing a blog and an audience today, it just wouldn't happen. Like that is a complete seasonal mismatch. So it is really important to be like noticing and just thinking about like what does match. Because, we talk about everything works. And so you just want to be like, what do I feel good about? Like, what would be really like something that I would get excited to be doing versus feeling like a slog. Like I just have to get through it because this is what I have to do. That's never going to be the ticket to success.
Such good points. I love that you brought that up because it made me think about, like, the retreats that we've done. That first retreat that we had in Occoquan, it was like there was a scavenger hunt, there was a dinner, there was all of this stuff, and then, like, years later when I was planning another one, it was like, okay, we're going to have a taco bar and have it catered in, and then we're going to have a chef come in and we're going to, so it was like you really do change as you get older. You're like, what is the point of going out and doing all that when you can have like a better experience and like just you, me, and Kim, like when we went to Richmond, like I think we went out to eat like once or twice, but we were like, no, we just want to sit here in front of the Netflix fireplace on the TV with that drafty door. Remember? We had to like tape up the door. Oh my gosh. It was like in January of 23 or 2 or something. As you get older, the more important it is to invest. Not more important, but just how you realign with like, okay, I'd rather spend some money and have a nicer experience than kind of just go with the flow of being like a broke young person. So, we talked about this in one of the episodes about how like the consistency of showing up and how, we would kind of be mad at ourselves for not showing up and feel guilty and all of that. But then we also talked about having like a body of work. And I think like as you get more evolved in your business and you kind of figure out like what it is that comes easy to you and also that you're good at, that's what you want to focus your time and energy on. Cause I was just thinking about you saying that, like writing every single day. Like for me, I'm like, oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine that. But I am doing like the daily stepping stones to success on Instagram and TikTok. And I'm doing that because I want to hone in on my messaging, and also I wanna track. Because like, one of the things that I've never really done in business is, like, look at the numbers and track, and Karen, when we revived the podcast, she was like, "Okay, here, you're on the Spotify account, so you can see the," and I'm embarrassed to say I haven't looked at them, but, I also know that, like, this is, like, we just got started in May, so or restarted in May, but, like, having access to the statistics of like who's opening, when they're bouncing off, all of that, like being able to look at that with an eye where it's like, you know, just trying to decide what to spend the time focusing on, but also like me doing that and showing up every day, it was helping me realize like, oh, because I was getting some engagement on some of the stuff that was more about like depression and anxiety and that kind of thing. And I'm like, that's not what I want to focus on. And so it really did open my eyes to like, okay, this is who I want to serve and how I want to serve them. And now it is still that trial and error. And then fine tuning the messaging, the idea of like writing, because that's so creative. Like anybody, I feel like anybody can record a video for like a minute. Cause like the editing apps now are they're so good. You can delete all of the silences, you can delete the filler words, that kind of thing. So they do make it easier. And like we had said, like I like video, but yeah, like writing every day, I can't even like wrap my head around that at this age. Like I feel like that would be so life sucking instead of life giving. Whereas the video, it's not really life giving, but it's also like I haven't made it into this big, huge thing. Like I get like a little nudge, like, okay, talk about this, Marsh. And then I'll hit record, in front of my window with the best light. And then I put my little Paris filter on and then, I upload it. And so, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, but that's because you're noticing, right? You're paying attention to like where does it feel good to be putting focus and energy? Where does it not feel like the thought of it doesn't even excite you at all? Like that's important to notice. And what you said about hustle, like especially in the beginning, that is so true. And there is a time when you're in a business, whether you're seasoned, kind of recalibrating or just starting, like where you're gonna have to put in some elbow grease, some sweat equity, all the things. So whether you want to call it hustle and grind or not, that is kind of what it is. I mean, you're gonna have some late nights, you're gonna have some long days putting in time to figure out stuff. If you're launching something, that's going to take a lot of time and energy, like at a short burst. It's not forever, which is the point, right? Like, and that's what you just have to feel it out. Like, okay, if I'm hustling a little bit now, but I don't want to go at that pace forever, like what does that look like in a more long term? And so that you just are clear with yourself, even like, okay, I know I gotta kind of like put it in right now, but I also know this isn't gonna be forever. Because if you don't do that, like you could fall into like a little bit of resenting your business or resenting the thing that is taking so much of your energy and time because you don't know when it's going to end. Like, when is that level of effort going to end? So, you don't want to fall into that kind of a season where you're just like, I hate this thing. Why am I doing this? This isn't even what I want. So, just being clear about like your bursts when you are going to have to go harder and give more is really important. And that effort can pay dividends. Like, I out myself all the time that I am like so not active on social right now, but I have been in the past. And I still get people DMing me from content that I did 2, 3 years ago because it's evergreen. It's the messages, they weren't like based on any time or trend or whatever. So don't like whenever you're thinking about like, well, I don't want to go at this pace forever and then it's going to all fall apart. I mean, maybe I probably would get more DMs if I was posting videos today, but the fact that I get DMs from videos I posted 3 years ago is still pretty good. So it's like, it still is good that I put in that effort at a time in a season when it was a match to put in that effort. and I can still benefit from it in a time and season when I don't have that match. I am not interested right now. Like I'm trying to work myself up to what does it look like to be more visible because we talk about that a lot on the podcast, and I know I need to have some sort of consistency in being online, but it's not going to be what it was. And I'm okay with that. Like I know it'll be a slower, more kind of flowy pace, not a hustle and grind pace because I'm not in that season anymore.
Thus partnering up, like I'm focusing on the visibility, you're focusing on the system. So it's like you are still showing up and everything. It's like, but and I feel like, if you did have that sense of urgency where like you needed to, then I feel like it would be like, watch out. Like she's on. So I think right now, it is like just kind of like getting back into the groove of things. But yeah, like not going into the hustle. And I like that you brought that up because we were very intentional about the Success Secret Society, about how we were gonna not have it as constant open enrollment. Cause like for me, like I've always been a sprinter, not a marathoner, because I need to have that end date. It's like a ADHD thing. It's like I have to, for the, project management, it's like I have to have a date that I'm working towards where it's like I can kind of have these little bursts of like, okay, I feel like I can reach out. I feel like I can do like the high touch outreach now, but then I need to go back into my cave and, like, be alone and not overloaded by the senses. And so, we were intentional about that, and it's funny because we only have a couple more days. So when this podcast airs, we only have a couple more days of open enrollment for our inaugural launch. And we were talking about, how it would be quarterly. We did talk about like with summer's just a difficult time to get people to engage, especially with their businesses. Like we've been in business long enough to know that September and January, those are the months where like people, and I mean this is across like all different industries. Like, I'm very involved with our Chamber of Commerce, and in January, that's like their biggest month for getting people to join a membership. And so we did talk about like next year, like what the timing would be of when we would launch. So, yeah, having those timelines where it's like you don't have to be on all the time, but when you are on, like people can still go back and be like, oh, she's been sharing this message all along. Like, yeah, maybe it was 3 years ago, but it's like, okay, Karen's Karen, Marsha's Marsha. Like, we might change the way we say things because we find it more effective than how we've explained it in the past, or we might start getting our hair highlighted again, or like we might physically change a little bit, but we are who we are, and it's just a matter of like how we're going to market our offerings and what we're going to offer. So yeah, but I do want to plug, like, if you are interested in joining the society, we have our first call on Friday. It's like our kickoff call. So you do have to apply and you have to get approved, and then you have to get the non-disclosure, and then you have to sign that and then set up your payment. We do offer quarterly too. But yeah, so if you want to be a founding member, if you want to be on Friday's call, get your application in. It's in the show notes. Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Yeah, me too. It's going to be awesome. I mean, what is really important, I think, when you're finding your people, and we talked about this probably in the community, whenever we talked about community, but it's like that you can be in a place where everyone can just come as they are. And whatever season you're in, whatever goals you have, whatever vision, like we can just honor that and hold space for that for each other. So that's probably like the part that just warms my heart the most because I don't want to have to just try to like have my elevator speech ready and be on. Like I can just be myself and you can just be yourself. Like that is going to be the best part, I think, of this group of women. So we would love to have you join us.